Close your eyes for a moment. Take a breath. And let me tell you a story that might just be your own. This is about a teacher, but it's also about you. It's about me. It's about every soul who has ever stood at the edge of an abyss and wondered if they had the strength to choose light over darkness. The teacher had always known what life was supposed to look like. From childhood, the path was clear, drawn in straight lines by expectation and duty. 12 years in the classroom. 12 years of shaping young minds, of arriving before sunrise and leaving after sunset, of pouring heart and soul into children who weren't hers but felt like they were. She loved teaching the way some people love breathing. It wasn't a choice, it was essential. Her students thrived. Year after year, the shy ones found their voice. The struggling ones discovered they were brilliant. The forgotten ones learned they mattered. She didn't just teach them math and reading, she taught them that they were worthy of taking up space in the world. But here's what nobody tells you about giving everything. Eventually, there's nothing left. Her marriage had been dying for years, though neither wanted to admit it. Her husband, a good man, a kind man, had become a stranger sleeping on the other side of the bed. They moved around each other like ghosts, polite and distant, mourning a love that had quietly suffocated under the weight of routine and unspoken resentments. She told herself it was normal, that all marriages go through phases, that if she just worked harder at school, if she just gave more to her students, the emptiness at home wouldn't matter so much. And then her body started giving out. First, it was exhaustion that sleep couldn't fix, then migraines that left her vomiting in the school bathroom between classes, then chest pains that sent her to the emergency room on a Tuesday afternoon, thinking she was dying. The doctor's words were clinical. Severe burnout, chronic stress. Your body is shutting down. You need to stop. But how do you stop when stopping feels like failure? How do you rest when 40 students are counting on you? How do you admit you're drowning when everyone thinks you're swimming? 3 months later, on a gray morning in February, everything collapsed at once. Her husband said the words she'd been dreading. "I can't do this anymore. I want a divorce." The school principal called her into the office. "We're concerned about your performance. Maybe you need to take some time off." And her doctor handed her a prescription for antidepressants with a look that said, "You're broken, and this might help hold you together." That night, she sat alone in her apartment, he'd already moved out, and felt herself fragmenting into pieces too small to ever reassemble. She had lost her marriage, her career was in jeopardy, her health was failing, her identity, everything she thought she was, had evaporated. And the most terrifying part, she felt nothing. Just emptiness, a void where a person used to be.
Before we continue, if this story is resonating with you, if you see yourself in these words, please subscribe to this channel. Your subscription tells me that these stories matter, that sharing our struggles creates connection. And maybe, just maybe, your comment below about your own journey will be the light someone else needs today. What they don't tell you about rock bottom is that it's not dramatic. There's no crash, no explosion, just a slow, quiet dissolving until one day you realize you don't recognize yourself anymore. The teacher took the leave of absence, moved into a small apartment that smelled like someone else's life, spent days in bed not because she was tired, but because getting up required a reason, and she couldn't find one. Her sister called every day. "You need to get out. You need to talk to someone. You need to do something." But what? What do you do when the life you built has crumbled and you can't remember who you are without it? She'd scroll through social media, a special kind of torture, and see her former colleagues posting pictures of their classrooms, their students, their purpose. See her ex-husband already looking happy with someone new. See everyone else living while she merely existed. The depression wasn't sadness. It was absence. An absence of hope, of meaning, of the spark that makes life worth living. Some days, she'd stand in front of the mirror and not recognize the woman staring back. Who was she without the classroom, without the marriage, without the identity she'd spent 40 years constructing? Nobody. Nothing. A ghost in her own life. 3 months into her leave, she stood on her apartment balcony at 2 a.m., looking down at the street below and thought, it would be so easy to just stop. And that thought terrified her more than anything else had, because she realized she was standing at a crossroads. One path led to giving up entirely. The other led somewhere. She couldn't see where, but it led away from this edge. The next morning, hands shaking, she made a phone call. The therapist's office was small, cluttered with plants and books that had been read so many times their spines were cracked. The therapist herself, a woman in her 60s with silver hair and eyes that had clearly seen some darkness of their own, sat quietly and just listened. For the first time in months, the teacher spoke. And speaking, she discovered she was still real. I don't know who I am anymore, she said, tears finally breaking through the numbness. Everything I was, the wife, the teacher, the person who had it all together, that person doesn't exist. And I don't know who's left. The therapist leaned forward. Maybe that's not a tragedy. Maybe that's an opportunity. An opportunity? The bitterness in her own voice surprised her. I've lost everything. No, the therapist said gently. You've lost everything you thought you were. Now you get to discover who you actually are. Who you are when nobody's watching, when there's no role to play, when it's just you and the truth. That session planted something. Not hope, not yet, but a question. Who was she beneath all the roles she'd played? The therapist gave her homework. Do one thing this week that has nothing to do with who you were. Something just for you. Something that makes you curious. So she went to a pottery class. Why pottery? She had no idea. She had seen a flyer at the coffee shop and something in her, some small, quiet voice said, yes. The first time she touched clay, her hands remembered something her mind had forgotten. The joy of creating without judgment, of making something imperfect and beautiful, of being present in her body instead of trapped in her head. She made a bowl. It was lopsided, asymmetrical, objectively not good, and she loved it with a fierceness that surprised her. That night, she ate dinner from that imperfect bowl, and for the first time in months, food had taste. Pottery became twice a week, then 3 times a week. The studio, a converted warehouse filled with artists and dreamers and people who seemed comfortable with mess, became a sanctuary. She met a sculptor there, an older man who'd lost his wife to cancer and found his way back to himself through art. A painter who'd survived addiction and now created worlds in color. A young woman who used clay to process trauma she couldn't yet speak aloud. Nobody asked her who she used to be. Nobody cared about her credentials or her failures. They saw her hands covered in clay and said, "You're one of us." Slowly, so slowly she barely noticed, she started coming back to life. She began walking in the mornings, not for exercise, but because the sunrise reminded her that darkness always gives way to light. She started reading again, not the educational books she had drowned herself in, but poetry that made her feel, and novels that reminded her that stories could transform. She volunteered at a community center, helping adults learn to read. It wasn't teaching the way she knew it. These weren't children looking up to her. These were grown men and women who had been failed by the system, who carried shame about their illiteracy, who needed someone to see them as capable. And something shifted in her. Teaching wasn't just her identity. It was her gift. And gifts don't disappear when circumstances change. They transform. One of her students, a construction worker in his 50s, broke down crying when he read his first complete sentence. "My whole life," he said, "I thought I was stupid. But you made me believe I could do this." Driving home that night, she realized this was why she survived. Not to go back to who she was, but to discover who she was becoming.
If you're still with me, if you're feeling something shift inside you as you listen, hit that like button. Not for me, for yourself. Let it be a small act of hope, a declaration that you're choosing to stay present for this journey. Because what comes next might just change everything for you. A year after her life fell apart, the teacher sat in her therapist's office and said something she never thought she'd say. "I'm grateful." "For what?" the therapist asked, though she was smiling like she already knew. "For everything breaking. For losing the marriage that was suffocating me. For leaving the job that was killing me. For falling apart so completely that I had no choice but to rebuild from scratch. Because the person I'm becoming, she's more real than the person I was." The therapist nodded. "And who is she, this woman you're becoming?" She thought about it. Someone who creates, someone who helps without depleting herself, someone who knows her worth doesn't come from what she does, but from who she is. Someone who's been broken and put herself back together with gold in the cracks. "Kintsugi," the therapist said softly. "What?" "It's a Japanese art form. When pottery breaks, they repair it with gold lacquer. The idea is that the breaking and the repair are part of the object's history, and that makes it more valuable, not less. Your breaks, they're not flaws. They're where your gold is." That image stayed with her. The breaks are where the gold is. She started a small business, pottery classes for people dealing with trauma, veterans with PTSD, domestic abuse survivors, people in recovery, people like her who needed to rebuild themselves one imperfect bowl at a time. She called it Broken Beautiful. The first class had 3 students. By 6 months, there was a waiting list. By a year, she was training other instructors. She'd found something that combined her teaching gift with her own healing journey, and it turned out the world was hungry for exactly that. Her ex-husband sent her a message. "I saw an article about your program. I'm proud of you. I'm sorry for how things ended, but I think we both needed to find our own paths." She read it without bitterness. He was right. They'd needed to end so they could both begin. The school principal called. "We'd love to have you back." She declined graciously. "I appreciate it, but I'm doing exactly what I'm meant to do now." And she was.
2 years after standing on that balcony at 2 a.m., contemplating the end, the teacher stood in front of a room filled with 50 people who'd come to hear her speak at a mental health conference. My name doesn't matter. My title doesn't matter. What matters is this. I was where some of you are now. I was so broken, I didn't think I could be fixed. So lost, I didn't think I could be found. So empty, I didn't think I could be filled. She paused, looking at faces that mirrored her own journey back. And here's what I learned. We don't actually need to be fixed, because we were never broken. We were breaking open. Breaking open to let out what no longer served us. Breaking open to let in new light. Breaking open to make room for who we're becoming. After her talk, a young man approached her, tears streaming down his face. "I've been planning to end my life," he whispered. "Tonight was going to be the night, but listening to you, I think maybe I'll give myself one more day, just to see." She held his hands. "One more day is enough, and tomorrow another day. That's all we ever have, one more day. And I promise you, if you keep choosing one more day, you'll look back and realize you've built an entire life worth living." He nodded and walked away, and she sent a prayer with him. This was the work now, not saving people. She'd learned that was impossible and arrogant. But witnessing, holding space, showing by her existence that transformation was possible. Now, let me step out of this story for a moment and speak directly to you. Because you need to know this isn't just about a teacher. This is about the human journey, your journey. Maybe you're not a teacher. Maybe your breaking looks different. But if you're listening to these words, you've known darkness. You've stood at edges. You've questioned whether you have the strength to take one more step. And here's what I need you to understand with every fiber of your being. Your breaking is not your ending. It's your becoming. Every spiritual tradition speaks this same truth in different languages. We must die to be reborn. The seed must crack open to become the tree. The caterpillar must dissolve completely, lose all form, all structure, before it can become the butterfly. You are not broken. You are breaking open. Pause here for just a moment. Take a breath. And if these words are landing in your soul, if you're realizing you're not alone in this struggle, please leave a comment. Tell me where you are in your journey. Are you in the darkness, the breakthrough, the transformation? Your story matters. And someone reading the comments might find the courage they need in your words. Let me share with you what I've learned from studying thousands of stories of transformation, from walking through my own darkness, from witnessing the miracle of human resilience again and again. First, your darkest night is often the womb of your greatest becoming. That teacher's suicidal thoughts at 2 a.m. weren't just despair. They were a spiritual crisis demanding rebirth. When life strips everything away, it's not cruel. It's clearing space, making room, preparing soil for something new to grow. The darkness you're in right now, it's not meaningless. It's intensely meaningful. It's the cocoon. Trust the transformation happening in the darkness even when you can't see it. Second, you are not the role you play. You are the eternal awareness witnessing the role. The teacher discovered she wasn't a wife or a teacher. Those were costumes she wore. Beneath them was something immortal, unchangeable, complete. You are not your job, your relationship status, your achievements, your failures. You are the consciousness experiencing all of it. And consciousness cannot be destroyed. When everything else falls away, you remain. The real you,
the eternal you, the you that was here before your story began and will be here after it ends. Third, pain is not punishment, it's information. It's the soul's way of saying, this path no longer serves you. Her body breaking down wasn't failure, it was wisdom. It was her spirit screaming, this is not your path. Physical pain, emotional anguish, mental breakdown, these aren't signs you're doing life wrong. They're signs you're being redirected, guided, called towards something more aligned with your truth. Listen to your pain. It's trying to save you. Fourth, community is not optional. It's essential for survival and transformation. Notice how the teacher didn't heal alone. The therapist, the pottery studio, the other broken people making art, the students learning to read. Healing happens in relationship. You cannot do this alone. You were never meant to. Find your people, the ones who've been through their own darkness and emerged with compassion, the ones who see your worth when you can't, the ones who will hold your hand through the fire. Fifth, create something, anything. Pottery, painting, writing, gardening, cooking, music, it doesn't matter. Creation is how we remember we're divine. It's how we participate in the ongoing miracle of existence. When you make something with your hands, you're saying, I'm still here. I still matter. I can still bring beauty into the world, even if what you create is imperfect, especially if it's imperfect. It's proof you're alive. Sixth, service to others is the bridge from pain to purpose. The teacher didn't truly heal until she started teaching adults to read, until she created Broken Beautiful. This is the sacred paradox. We heal by helping others heal. Your suffering isn't wasted if you use it to lighten someone else's burden. Your story isn't just for you. It's medicine for someone who needs to know they're not alone. Find a way, any way, to serve. Even small acts, especially small acts. Seventh, gratitude is the alchemy that transmutes suffering into wisdom. When she could say, I'm grateful everything broke, that's when the transformation completed. Not toxic positivity, not pretending the pain wasn't real, but genuine gratitude for the breaking that led to her becoming. You don't have to be grateful for what happened to you, but you can be grateful for what you became because of it. That shift from victim to warrior, from wounded to wise, that's where freedom lives. Listen, wherever you are right now, whatever you're facing, feel these words. You are standing in the middle of your own sacred story. You don't know how it ends. You can't see the next chapter, and that's terrifying. I know. But here's what I can see that you can't. You are not the tragedy. You are the hero of the tragedy. Every spiritual text, every myth, every story of transformation follows the same arc. The hero is living an ordinary life. Then comes the call, usually in the form of crisis. Everything falls apart. The hero descends into darkness, faces demons, dies in some way, and then is reborn, returns to the world transformed, bearing gifts. You are in the descent right now. Maybe you're facing the demons. Maybe you're in the death stage, where everything you were is dissolving. And I need you to know, this is not the end of your story. This is the middle, the most important part, the part where everything changes. The darkness you're in, it's not meaningless. It's the chrysalis. It's the holy Saturday between crucifixion and resurrection. It's the gap between the lightning and the thunder where all transformation lives. Let me tell you something that might sound impossible right now. There is a part of you that has never been hurt, a part that cannot be damaged by anything this world does to you. Your body can break, your heart can shatter, your mind can fragment, your circumstances can devastate. But there is something in you, call it soul, spirit, consciousness, divine spark, that remains eternally whole, eternally pure, eternally connected to the source of all life. That's what the mystics mean when they say, you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. The breaking you're experiencing, it's not destroying that eternal part, it's revealing it. By stripping away everything false, everything temporary, everything that isn't you, it's showing you what remains, what's real, what's unbreakable. And here's the profound truth. You are not walking through this alone. I don't just mean your friends or therapist or support group, though those are essential. I mean something deeper. There is a force in this universe that bends toward healing, toward wholeness, toward love. It's in the way your body heals cuts without you thinking about it, in the way spring follows winter without fail, in the way hope keeps rising in the human heart even after it's been crushed 1,000 times. That force is with you, in you, as you. You are held by something so much bigger than your story. And that something is conspiring right now in this very moment to bring you through this darkness into the most authentic, alive, purposeful version of yourself that's ever existed.
If you've made it this far, you're not here by accident. The algorithm didn't bring you here. Your soul did. Before we move into these final sacred teachings, subscribe if you haven't already. These videos take days to create, but they're made with love for people like you who are walking through fire and need to know they're not alone. And turn on notifications, because the next video might arrive exactly when you need it most. So what do? Tomorrow morning, when you wake up and the weight is still there, what do? You breathe. That's first. You breathe and you say, I'm still here. That matters. Then you do one small thing. Not 10 things, one. Maybe it's getting out of bed. Maybe it's texting a friend. Maybe it's going outside for 5 minutes. Maybe it's making your bed as an act of hope that you'll return to it. Maybe it's creating something, anything, with your hands. One small thing that says, I choose life. For one more day, I choose to stay. And tomorrow, another small thing. And the day after that, another. You don't need to know how the whole story ends. You don't need to see the entire path. You just need to take the next step. The one right in front of you. That's all transformation ever asks of us. The next small step. And please, please ask for help. There is no nobility in suffering alone. There is no prize for doing this solo. Reach out. Call the helpline. Text a friend. See the therapist. Join the group. Let someone walk beside you. Your pride wants to say, I should be able to handle this myself. That's ego talking. That's the same voice that got you here. The truth is, needing help doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And being human is the bravest thing you can be. I'm going to tell you something now, and I need you to believe it even if you can't feel it yet. You will not always feel this way. I know it feels permanent. I know it feels like this darkness is your new forever, but I promise you, I promise, this is temporary. Feelings are like weather. They pass. The storm you're in right now, as violent and destructive as it feels, will pass. And when it does, you'll look back on this time and realize something stunning. This was when you became who you truly are. This was when you shed the false self and met the real one. This was when you stopped performing and started being. The teacher, looking back now at that woman on the balcony at 2 a.m., doesn't see a person who almost gave up. She sees a warrior who chose to fight for one more day, and then another, and another, until those days became a life worth living. That's you. You're the warrior. You just can't see it yet because you're in the middle of the battle. But trust me, future you, the you that's waiting on the other side of this, is looking back with so much love and gratitude and pride, saying, "Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for choosing one more day. Look at what we became because you held on." So here's my invitation to you. Stay. Please stay. One more day. And tomorrow, one more. Not because it's easy or because the pain will magically disappear, but because your story isn't finished yet. Because the world needs the medicine that only you can create from your wounds. Because someone 10 years from now needs to hear your story of how you survived this and will find hope in it. Stay because you are more than your circumstances, more than your pain, more than your past or your present. Stay because you are divine light having a temporary human experience, and that light cannot be extinguished by anything this world does to you. Stay because you are loved by a universe that created you on purpose, for a purpose, and that purpose is still unfolding, especially in this darkness. The breaking is not your ending. It's your beginning. The darkness is not your destination. It's your initiation. The pain is not punishment. It's transformation. And you, beautiful, broken, brave soul, you are exactly where you need to be to become who you were always meant to be. Your story is just beginning. The best chapters are still unwritten. And the person you're becoming through this fire is worth every moment of the burning. So breathe. Stay. Choose one more day. And watch what miracles unfold when you do. You are not broken. You are breaking open. You are not ending. You are becoming. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And you, exactly as you are right now, in this moment, are enough. More than enough. You are everything.